Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chela Time, where four friends talk about their thoughts with a drink in hand. My name is Cesar.
My name is Diego.
Hey everyone, I'm Joel.
And I'm Peter.
Hey, how you guys been? It's been a minute.
It's been a long minute, dude.
It has. School
Yeah.
started, so I've been over here in my fucking cave,
Yeah,
Just-
same here, man.
hitting fucking writing hieroglyphs on the wall.
Hieroglyphics.
The numbers, Mason, what do they mean?
That's perfect. Hey, Cold War is coming up too. So that's perfect
Cold
timing.
at War.
What's that? What was that?
Cold at War. Cold at War. Yeah.
Cold at War.
Call of Duty, Cold at War.
Call of Duty.
Listen, it's just another Call of Duty game, man. The name doesn't really matter. It's just
Cold War,
Black Ops
baby.
again, all right?
Yeah, it does.
Black
You can't
Ops
just say, "Oh, I'm
2020.
playing Call of Duty. It fucking matters. I gotta know whether you're playing fucking Final Fury or the big red one or fucking Modern Warfare, dude. I gotta know.
Final Fury. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Holy shit.
It's an old ass game.
Dude, you fucking
Is it
triggered
Final-
me.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of Finest Hour. That was my first
Finest
Call
Hour,
of Duty
yes.
game.
Yeah.
That was my first game.
That's also what I was attempting to say, but I don't know why I said Final Fury. But dude, that shit was intense on the PS2. Well,
Yes,
when
on the
that's when I
PS2.
played it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
think it
jealous.
might have been that was a very good game.
I'm jealous that you guys got to experience early Call of Duty because I didn't get into Call of Duty till like BO2 and BO1.
Oh, you missed out.
I thought I hit it at the prime time. To be honest, everyone
Well,
fucking knows BO2.
You did.
I'm not
I
gonna
would
lie,
say you
Peter.
did.
COD
I
4 was
started-
peak.
Nah, shut up. I started at
Dude, get
Fuck
out
your
of here.
opinion. He said, "Fuck your opinion."
Close your browser, dude. Fuck.
yeah. Did you see that X on the corner, Caesar?
Get out the chat, boy.
No, Pedro. The first Call of Duty that I guess really got into where I started playing multiplayer was definitely Black Ops 1. I didn't know that I was playing Call of Duty when I was playing Finest Hour or the big red one. I was just over with my friend. We were just playing that, and it wasn't like much later where I see the Call of Duty name get so popular. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I played that. I'm cool when I was a little kid.
Yeah, Peter, it's
Yeah.
funny because you say you feel like you missed out, but the original Call of Duty games are completely different games compared to what they are now.
Are not what they are today or even what they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, they're so different. And like they're really good actually. Like if you play through the stories,
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
They're
they're
pretty
intense,
good.
dude.
Yeah, and it's just like actual war stories that keep you like engaged and shit. And
Yeah,
obviously
it almost
now,
reminds me of like the way that EA does it with Battlefield. They have like war stories instead of like
exactly.
just general campaign, and it's like it almost immerses you in such a way that you almost feel like you're the fucking prisoner, dude.
Exactly. And it's funny because they basically took over that formula after Call of Duty went like balls to the wall, like, pure multiplayer.
Balls
Yeah,
to the wall.
fucking just arcade shooter, just fucking
Yeah.
running out on walls and
But
Honest-
they do it like they're one of the best.
oh yeah.
The only reason I say that is just because I played World War II's campaign, and I fell in love with that story so much. I hate the multiplayer.
It's awesome.
I hate the multiplayer.
It's really good.
But yeah, that campaign is amazing. So I just
Yeah,
want
it was-
to play more
I
games like
think it was
that.
the first game that I did on fully veteran because it is like I really like this game. I played it on like not recruit, it's regular on the first time around, and I was like, "Yo, this is a game that needs to be played on veteran." And that one was sick. I really liked like the whole spying one and shit where you had to like crawl around the Nazis and stuff. That was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
And
the
it-
multiplayer sucks ass.
multiplayer is ass, dude.
What would you guys say is your favorite Call of Duty game in like just in its overall package? Just a multiplayer
Right.
campaign and the additional
DLC.
game mode. Mhm.
COD 4, for sure. I don't know, maybe because it gives me that nostalgic vibe, and it was also the first Call of Duty I played, but definitely COD 4.
For me,
Yeah.
it's definitely BO2. I love all the zombie maps. I was a zombie player at first anyway. And I feel like I said, it has the best zombie maps, but that multiplayer was insane too.
I didn't play any of the Modern Warfare games until after I played the first Black Ops game, and so it's like everybody is like, "Oh, Modern Warfare is the best series," and I've kind of grown to accept that just because that's like the general like consensus. But realistically, the one that like I can always go back to and I know I will enjoy is Black Ops 2. It's like Black Ops 1 was the first Call of Duty I played, but Black Ops 2 was just so good in campaign, in multiplayer. Multiplayer's fun, dude. And even the zombies was really fun. So it's like that's the Call of Duty for me.
Exactly, and I feel like it perfected everything that Black Ops One was supposed to be. Which even
Yeah.
then, Black Ops One was still really, really amazing. Black
Mm.
Ops Two was even more amazing. I feel.
Yeah, it refined it. It refined it.
That's a hard.
What,
That's a hard
Diego? What's
decision
yours?
for me.
What's your favorite
'Cause
one?
I
Diego's like Halo.
I would have to say Black Ops. I was gonna say I was like Halo beats everything, but I think it have to be the first Black Ops because I prefer that story over Black Ops 2. But if we're
Yeah.
talking solely multiplayer, it has to be BO2, like by far.
You know what? I go back on my answer because Zombies in Black Ops 1 is so much better than fucking Zombies in Black Ops 2.
That too.
And
Yeah, that too.
campaign is so much better in Black Ops 1 than it is in Black Ops 2. And I feel like the reason we like Black Ops 2's multiplayer a little bit more is because I feel like that was the start of the modern Call of Duty that we know, and like that's super fast paced. Because when you go back to Black Ops 1, it's a lot slower paced than what it is today.
Yeah,
But based off of that, Black Ops 1 is the way to go.
I missed the
Also,
dolphin dive.
Dolphin
Black Ops
Dive is
2,
amazing, dude.
that's what started like the futuristic stuff too.
Yeah.
Because after that
Uh,
is when it kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
BO3.
with fucking Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Since we're on the topic of video games, what is your guys' all-time favorite video game? It doesn't have to be a first-person shooter or anything. Just your favorite game.
That
Oof.
so
Or the most
Mm.
nostalgic game for you.
most nostalgic. We're talking most nostalgic. I always played Super
Either
Mario
one.
64, and I still play it to this day. I have my 64 hooked up, and every now and then I'll hop on it. Luckily, it's coming to the Switch now, so I can just set aside my 64 just for display.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're talking most nostalgic and arguably one of my favorites, definitely Super Mario 64. If we're talking all-time favorite, I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be Pokemon Soul Silver.
Oh yeah, dude. That's where it's at.
Anyone who knows me, they know I'm a Pokemon fan, and I will tell you that is the best Pokemon game you'll play. Of course, some people will argue it's Black and White too, but for me, Soul Silver had the better. It also gave you the nostalgic. It gave me nostalgia on top of nostalgia, just because it was based off of games that were made
Yo,
way
dog,
back
I heard
when.
you like nostalgia.
So I got you some nostalgia.
Love
And
it.
yeah, it included all of my favorite Pokemon as well, like all the newer Pokemon that came into play with Gen 3 and Gen 4. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you the best game ever is Soul Silver.
Nice. I feel like for me, the most nostalgic game ever. I think when I like the first real introduction into gaming. Like, I played it casually because I had a Nintendo 64. But to be fair, I was 3, 4 at the time, and I had it up until I was 8. I didn't have a GameCube. I had the PS2. The PS2, I was just playing those Call of Duty games, but just to pass the hour. Actually, my favorite, if I have to say, PS2 game would be fucking SmackDown versus Raw 2008. That was my
Yes, sir, boy. Yes,
all-time
sir.
favorite on PlayStation 2. But I think I got deeper into it when I got my DS, and especially when I started getting the Game Boy Pokemon games, because in the Sinnoh games you were able to transfer those Pokemon from them, and it was super hard to get the
Mhm.
starters from other regions in the Sinnoh games. So for me, the most nostalgic, because like that's the one where I had maxed everything out. I felt so good. Was platinum. That I had diamond, I had pearl, but platinum was where it was at. It's like it was the game just refined and on steroids.
Pokemon
Like
Platinum was
now, dude,
amazing.
I have the fucking soundtrack in my playlist. Like I just bump to like the Elite Four music. It's like that's my favorite Pokemon music.
Dude, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Like all of the Sinnoh region Pokemon games had some banging music, dude. Especially
Yeah, dude, the
Cynthia's theme. Cynthia's
Cynthia's
theme is
theme,
fire.
yes. God damn, dude. I remember because the first time I beat it, I was 10, and I had traveled with my grandma over to California, and I was in it was my aunt's house, but realistically, it's my grandma's sister, so practically I was with my grandma still, and it was so boring. And I had forgotten my charger, dude. And so I remember I was with Cynthia, and I was fighting her. This is my first time facing her, and my DS starts flashing red. It's just blinking, blinking. So it's like when it starts blinking, you literally only have 5 minutes, and it doesn't take 5 minutes to beat Cynthia. I managed to beat her, save the game, and it turned off. So I had to go through it and beat it again. But like that imagery of having to beat it is like fucking just engraved in my head.
I agree. I agree. Everyone, the whole Pokemon community, the whole meme is that Cynthia's like the GOAT. Like she's the hardest final boss ever in Pokemon. I would argue that if anyone's ever played like Pokemon Emerald or the third gen, that final boss is pretty tricky for me at least. I swept through Cynthia. I honestly don't know how people like complained about that. I should say.
Yo, who's zooming over there? No, I'm kidding.
Eject my car, dude.
Yeah, that'd be the most nostalgic for me. But I think my favorite game would probably have to be Destiny 1 because I invested so many hours into it during high school. Like that was my game for like 3 years straight. That's probably my all-time favorite game, or just Destiny in general.
Yeah, going off of Destiny, I think for sure my favorite overall, I have to say Halo 2. And it's the sole reason why I'm like the only one that is still gonna get a new Xbox is for the new Halo game. I fell in love with that whole franchise and the story, and it was the first game that I actually sat down and like got invested. Um, and I can literally like name all the levels. I can tell you like where all the secret like spots are for the skulls in the game and shit. God, I fucking played so many so many I played that game for so long and so much, and then just all the other Halo games. But I think it's a tie between Halo 2 and Skyrim. I put hundreds upon hundreds of hours into Skyrim, especially during like high school summers. I got lost in that game. I lived in that game for a long time. It's so good because it's not only do you have an actual compelling story where for one you're in like a fantasy land, so you've got dragons and knights and magic and elves and shit, but it's like it's there's so many different spots and caves to explore, and it's one of those things that I love games like that where you can just sit down for a full day at a time and just explore, and especially since I had so much time back then in high school when you're not really thinking about any real priorities or things to like work or anything, because it's just do your homework or whatever, and it's like I would just stay up and play Skyrim. That, man, I think that had to be my favorite overall. And there's been times where I've thought to myself like, oh, I kind of want to rebuy it on the Switch because they released it for Switch. I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, and I'm like, do I want to do that to myself? Do I want to take a deep dive and put in another another couple hundred hours? I don't know. We'll see. But I think
Jesus.
if they ever come out with the next one, the Elder Scrolls 6, that's definitely going to be like, I'm going to hop on that so fast.
I think for me, the oldest game I could remember playing was on the PS2, and it was GTA San Andreas. And it was like my first game that was an open world where like you can go. I still remember you had to go to a particular spot to play with two people. I thought that was stupid. Yeah, I thought that was so dope. And then it in today's standard, it sounds really dumb. They're like, oh, you had to go to a spot if you want a homie to play with you. Now you just hook up a controller and now it's so seamless. But definitely GTA San Andreas, just due to the fact that it opened my world to like violence. And like it sounds like a bad thing.
Now, everybody.
Yeah, right. It got me used to the life. No, but I think it was just pretty cool opening that side of the world to me, because at the time that I found the game, I thought the world was like all peace, and it's sad, but that world eventually was a reality or is a reality, and it kind of opened the doors to that. That and I remember playing a lot of Tekken, which is this fighting game.
Yes, sir, dude.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
Fucking
Tekken.
Tekken.
awesome, dude.
Tekken on the PS2. I remember when they came out with the PS3 versions, and I stopped playing when they included Star Wars characters. I remember they came up with the Dark Vader edition, the Yoda edition,
Oh,
and I'm like,
you're thinking of
The
Soul
PSPs.
Calibur. No. You're thinking.
so. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Tekken. Soul Calibur. That's the game I used to play. My
That's
bad,
even
not
better.
Tekken.
I love
Bro,
Soul
you
Calibur.
got me hyped as hell, dude. Man,
Nah,
fuck you.
Soul Calibur. Soul
Calibur's
Calibur.
better. Soul
Yeah,
Calibur.
bro. Yeah, Soul Calibur.
played-
And that's when I stopped playing it.
I played the shit out of Tekken because growing up here at the current apartments that I still live at, the kid next door is the one. He was like spoiled as shit. He got all the games, all the consoles. Like, I remember he got Guitar Hero and GarageBand for Christmas one day. So it was like, remember how they had those big ass boxes with the entire set, with the drum set, the
Yeah.
guitar, and everything.
Yeah.
This guy,
Oh
this
my
kid had it
God.
all, dude. And so I would spend more time at his house than I would at mine because I would just be playing all the games this kid had, and it was just. I guess now looking at it, I use them, but as a kid, you kind of don't even realize that. You just want to have fun. But
There's always that one friend, isn't there? Like,
yeah,
for me, it was my cousin. My cousin was exactly that person that was spoiled and got all of the new consoles, all the new games, and it was like, hey, can we go to my cousin's house? Or hey, can you drop me off? You know,
Yeah.
because I think at the time they lived around the corner, so it's like you're right. Like it is kind of like you're using them, but you're not. Like you're there to spend time with them and play because you know they
Yeah.
have all the new games.
Especially if it's like almost like a 2-player game or a multiplayer game where you can all play together, then that's where I can justify it. For me, where I fucked up all the time was my cousins would get the newest systems, and I would want whatever they got the Christmas beforehand. Because, like, for example, one of my cousins, he would get like the Wii, and of course he would let me try out the Wii. I fell in love with the Wii. Next Christmas, hey mom, I want the Wii. And then they'll get like for example, like they'll get like a PS3, and then like they'll let me try the PS3, and it's like, oh damn, I should probably get a PS3 sometime, huh? And I was always one step behind, but we were all at least like I'm always thankful that they introduced me to so many of these games because now like they're all the game systems and all the games that I love. So
Yeah, dude,
I can justify doing that kind of stuff.
I remember me getting the PS3 because there was this childhood friend of mine. He still lives here in the apartments. But after school, I would always just go to my house, drop off my backpack, and I remember I had a PS3 control, but I didn't have a PS3 because I don't know where I even got the PS3. But he didn't have two controllers, so I had to buy one so that we would play together. And I would go to his
Oh.
house. I would go to his house with my controller, and dude, we'd be playing up until like 9 p.m. quick scoping on Call of Duty, just LAN party, just me and him the entire time. It was so fun.
It's a life right there.
Yeah, this
That's
was the
awesome.
time before internet. I gotta say, because like obviously the internet existed, but me being the oldest and had not been exposed to the internet prior to that, it's like there was no need for the internet until I went to my friend's house who did have it, and I'm like, "Yo, mom, we need internet. I need to play quick scopes in Modern Warfare 2, please."
Or you did have internet and you just had a modem, and the other side of the modem was hooked up to a computer, and there was no
Yeah.
Wi-Fi router.
Yeah.
And then
There was
I remember the
was
first
one
time I got a
outlet.
router, I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this?" So amazing, bro. I was like finding
no, dude,
out that
I remember when I got
electricity.
internet. It was there was this one game on the computer. It's called Launch the Turtle. I fucking play that nonstop. It was just you upgrading a little cannon and you shoot a turtle, and so you have, yeah. So it's not as graphic as it seems. It's just an animated little game, but you fucking launch this turtle, get points the further you launch them, and that was it. You just launch them, break your own record. I would spend hours upon hours just fucking launching this poor turtle, shooting him with the sniper so he could go further. But
I think I know the game
remember-
that you're talking about, Joel.
yeah, I'll show it to you guys in a bit. But I remember when I got internet, it was 1 megabit down. So when I had to download like DLC for Call of Duty, Caesar, do you remember when we would leave our PS3s like running while we were
Oh
at
my God.
school downloading?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and especially because they wouldn't download in the background or anything back in the day. And
This was
it's so funny to hear.
PS3.
Yeah, and dude, these PS3s would fucking sound like jet turbines, dude.
Yeah.
Today, my brothers are like, dude, it's not downloading fast enough. It's gonna take 2 hours. I'm like, bitch, I had to wait 3 days to play a fucking game.
Oh my god! I remember when we fucking installed First Strike for Black Ops 1. That was
Yeah,
a whole
remember?
struggle, bro. Dude.
Yeah,
Damn, that
it's so funny. Just like, and it's even then, like even then, we didn't think much of it. It's like, this is what internet is. This is, but it was so cool.
I don't know,
So-
man. It started Monday. I should be ready to play Thursday.
It's so
Mhm.
funny. So funny, like all this talk about days worth of waiting for downloads when we're on the cusp of a new generation with like the new PS5, and
Or
it's
you'll just
gonna
be streaming the game.
yeah, you're gonna be able to like close one window and immediately open up in the middle of a new game in like seconds and download them in seconds because they're using SSDs. It's fucking crazy.
This
Yeah,
next
it's
to
a
be
whole
hyped,
different
dude.
time.
Are you
You
guys
sound like
gonna
old
get?
men over here talking.
Yeah, it makes you feel old, doesn't it? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we like when you look at gaming as a whole and the generation that we're in and like the games that we played, I think it definitely. I think we are old men in terms of that, right? Maybe not compared to the people that played Pong when they were kids when that came out. What in the 70s, like 80s, and all those games and shit. But I think for the consoles that we had and we played, yeah, we're definitely old men when it comes to that.
Yeah, man. We're old men in hospital beds saying, "I remember in my day."
All you
No, I've been
whippersnappers
in
with your
hospital beds.
SSDs.
Yeah, having an SSD in a console, that's just crazy to like even think of now. Back in the day, it was just like all hard drive. And it's funny because there's older people that look at us and they look at us like we're like the new people, but and now I know exactly how they feel because I'm
It's
just like that's so crazy, man.
When
Caesar,
we would say that floppy disks are outdated.
Oh my god, dude, Sheldon would just look at us like you kids have it. You don't know how good you have it.
it's funny you mentioned like hard drives and consoles. I feel like even before full on hard drives, it was just like their own. Each company had their own proprietary bullshit like memory card. Like I remember having the like two different memory cards that were like 32 megabytes for the PS2.
Yeah, I remember
Oh
the fucking
yeah,
cartridges
dude,
that you had to
what?
put on the
Those are
64.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have one of them. I
exactly.
have one of them, Joel. They're fucking huge.
massive, dude. They're like when you put it on, like the console just doubles in weight, dude. It's absurd, and it's only like 2 megabytes.
It really is the majority of the weight of it, dude.
Oh my goodness. But how the times have changed. Good lord.
Now we're over here bitching about 1 terabyte,
I know.
I know.
which is literally a million times bigger than a megabyte. So it's like,
You say that, and I'm over here like my 1 terabyte hard drive that I bought for my PlayStation 4 is like almost up, and I'm like, God damn.
I remember when 1 terabyte was like the biggest. I remember when 500 gigabytes was the biggest, top of the line. Now it's like getting to like 2 terabytes or nothing, bro.
2 terabytes, you won't even have fun, dog.
Yeah, soon we're gonna need
Warzone's gonna take it all out.
we're gonna have like petabytes and shit
It's
The next
getting there, man.
It's
on
getting there, dude.
I'm not sure if the PlayStation 3 generation had this type of thing. I know they had hard drives, but I remember because I'm an Xbox kid mostly, and I had the 360, and I remember it only launched with like a 4 gigabyte model. I think is what it was.
The 360 launched with the 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to think.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
it was
think we had-
Console Wars, where it was Xbox One v PS4, wasn't it?
No. I'm saying like just in terms
He's
of
talking about
Yeah,
360.
there is.
yeah,
The-
It shipped with
360
the Connect.
yeah,
The
the one
360 Connect
that's the
it
one
had
that I
4
had.
gigabytes.
And it launched with the 4 gigabyte hard drive because if you got the Connect, that was like whatever. That of course
Disgusting.
games weren't super massive, but I remember finding a 320 gigabyte hard drive, and that was like a gold mine. And today, that's like what Modern Warfare, like in
Yeah.
one package, and it's just like
It's because the problem arises not in like the storages itself, but actually using CDs.
Mhm.
Now they only serve as keys because it's physically impossible to load today's games on a single disc. I think an average Blu-ray can't store more than 100 gigs, and Warzone in itself is like 150. So, and also reading off of a CD is much slower than reading off of a hard drive. So
SSD.
yeah, so they started proposing, you know what? Let's just download the game onto a hard drive. Before in the PS3 and the 360 days, games were only like 2, 3, or 20 gigs in size, not very big, and they were able to be read off directly off of the discs. So all you had
Yep.
to download was DLC. But today, now that's impossible. You're not going to be reading 200 gigs from a fucking Blu-ray disc. It's impossible.
It's ridiculous. It's insane.
Now it's like, hey, you got a big hard drive? How fast is your internet?
Hmm.
It's the same thing. Like it makes me think of music CDs compared to vinyl and cassette, you know, and then how on vinyl it's like even though it's made a grand resurgence within the past like 5 years, and vinyl's actually been outselling a lot. Just I think mainly for that nostalgia factor and the fact that you can buy like a little vinyl player for like 35-40 bucks on Amazon now. But it's interesting how when bands now put out music, it's like you'll see a digital, if it's not up on Spotify, you can buy the CD and like download it straight to your device. They have the CD, and then they have like the vinyl, but it's always like 3 or 4 vinyls if it's a super long album. And it makes me laugh. And it's like people are willing to spend, and they're still expensive. So it's like people are still willing to spend like 40-50 bucks for like 3 vinyls to play them on this, for all intents and purposes, kind of shitty, like mediocre vinyl player, just to have that. And it's like, that's fucking crazy. When you
Yeah.
can just download it straight to your phone and in high quality and play it on your computer with these high ass speakers. But people just love that factor of like, oh no, but it's this old technology that's cool,
Yeah, I always laugh when people still think that like people that have PS4s and Xbox Ones that they assume that the just because they have the physical copy of the disc of a game, they assume that they own or they have a copy of the game. I'm like, no, 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 you have a digital license of a game. It's just stored on a CD.
Yeah, you don't own anything anymore. They like I mentioned, I just looked up the total capacity of a Blu-ray disc, and they go up to 50 gigs. Tell me what fucking game you know today that's 50 gigs. Almost only Fall Guys. So it's like if to really own the game, it has to fit on the CD. And the matter of fact is just that they don't anymore. So now it's just a key. You put it in there, and your computer says, okay, you own a license. Here, download it. But that's it. You still gotta download it. The
Yep.
CD by itself doesn't have any value.
Yeah, it's a crazy. God, it's so weird to think about now. It's bizarre.
Yeah. So
I just
Pedro,
what's up?
oh my bad. Go ahead.
No,
Finish what you were gonna say.
I was just gonna say that by all means, all this, the evolution of technology is amazing to see, and I love reading about it and trying to understand how it's happening. But I hate that we just went from, hey, it was easy just to, you know, play a PS2 with somebody like right next to you. Now we can't even split screen Modern Warfare. We can't split screen half the games we're playing, and I think that like I miss that a lot. You know what I mean? Because I used to go to my cousin's house all the time to play BO2 zombies, and we'll make it to like round 30 or 20. But now like it's kind of like we both have to like chill at home, do it over the internet and pray that our connection doesn't lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, we're getting to the point where like it's not even, oh, do you have what console do you have? It's what service do you have? Like Google Stadia, there's a whole bunch of services now where you don't need a physical console. You just need a client that connects to whatever service, and they stream you the game over the internet.
I'm
So
telling
like
you, everything's gonna
Stadia,
become a service nowadays, dude.
yeah,
Like
that's what
cars,
it's
Uber exists. We're gonna get to the point where it's literally it's impractical for any person to own a vehicle. It makes more sense for a company to own it so that they could give a car more use. For example, if electric vehicles really take off and they start becoming autonomous, there's no point for you to own an autonomous vehicle. You're going to be renting, or you're just going to be paying for trips like Ubers. Everything's going to become a service, dude.
Joel
Yeah,
telling
and
everyone to lease a Tesla.
I think everything essentially is already a service. Like
Yeah.
you look at like how Caesar just mentioned Google Stadia, and even though it failed, for all I mean, I think if you look at the grand scheme of their business model,
They continue
it
to
failed.
promo it.
Yeah, well, because they lost so much money on it, they can't fucking not, you know. But I think a product like Xbox X Cloud does it a whole lot better because, you know, going off of this whole, you know, conversation about gaming, xCloud was originally like a trial thing where, hey, you sign up for it and you can download an app and play it on, I think it was only on Android devices for like a few months. And now, just recently, with the announcement of like the newest Xbox consoles, they turned it into Xbox Game Pass, and you pay a subscription, and it's basically like a streaming service, but you get hundreds upon hundreds of games, some that are brand new, and you get them at launch. It's like now obviously you have to keep paying for the service in order to keep the games, or you can just buy them outright altogether so that you own a copy, right? But at the end of the day, it's like you just have to pay like $15 a month, you know, add it to your already long list of subscriptions, like on top of Netflix, on top of Hulu, on top of all this other shit, and you get hundreds of games at in the palm of your hand, literally, if you have a phone. There's this whole thing with like if you have an iPhone that, like, you know, Apple's being kind of stupid with the licenses and properties in the stores that they allow for the games. But if you own an Android phone, if you have a computer, and obviously if you have the console, you get hundreds of games all at your disposal whenever the hell you want. And we're just going to see more of that. PlayStation hasn't necessarily jumped on that bandwagon yet, but they will. And I wouldn't be surprised if Switch did that too.
I
And
thought that was PS Now.
Yeah, PlayStation has PS Now. PS Now
PS
actually
Now,
existed
just
before
yes, thank
Xbox's.
you.
it's not, they don't push it as much though. They haven't really done anything with it.
Oh no, yeah, I'll give them that.
Xbox
Microsoft
perfected it. I'll give you that.
has been pushing it, but I think the one of the first subscription uh, based services for games was PS Now.
Gameplay. Oh,
Yeah, it was PS Now. But the only thing that
Streaming,
PS
sorry,
Now
Pedro.
is that it
$1 a day.
requires a PS4. Where the revolutionary thing about the Xbox service is that you don't need an Xbox in order to buy it. You could play off, like you said, you could play off of your phone. You could play off of your computer. It doesn't matter. So it's like they almost stripped away Xbox being a physical thing and Xbox being a service. It's no longer
Exactly.
a box.
Exactly.
Xbox is
It's
now it's a service.
games as a service. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk around that, and essentially, I saw a headline for an article today, an article. I said that weird. Um, that was like the Xbox One S is essentially just a Game Pass machine, and it's like in a lot of ways that's the ugly truth, right? You know, as much as I know I'm going to get one because I want to play it on my TV, and I want I want the experience of the console. I want the controller in my hand. I want to, plug it in. That's essentially all it is. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't subscribe to Game Pass if I'm going to get all those games and I can just play them whenever I want, especially if I can get them on my phone now. But it's one of those things where it's like, I could just get Game Pass on my phone and then stream my phone to my TV. But it's like, and while I'm sure a lot of people are going to do that, most people aren't. Most people are still going to want that console. But it's just weird how they've managed to change their plan structurally from saying, hey, you know what? You know, Xbox One really lost to PlayStation 4 this last generation. I mean, horribly. And so I think
Take that, bitch.
they know that.
We have to get ready though.
They know that, and they're like, let's do something different. Let's not worry about, hey, you know, buy our box. Let's say, hey, come to our service. Let's get more people on our service where you're paying, you know, you don't even have to pay for the console if you don't want. You can just have if you already have a phone or a computer, you just install it and boom, you pay a monthly fee and there you go. It's
they're a bit more experienced this time around now. They know that they have to get a good chunk of people to purchase, like, the holiday season. Whoever wins the holiday season in console war pretty much wins the war for the next 3 years. So they're already doing it with they're doing it with the price, which they've already announced, $300, which is the current price of a brand new PS4. And I think the PS5 is like supposed to be, the leaks have said $500 to $600.
They haven't done the price yet.
They're unconfirmed.
The leaks.
Yeah.
The leaks are like suggesting that it's going to be a $500 to $6 console.
$6.
But that's $600. You know, that's a money, bro.
I think the smartest thing PlayStation should do is the digital version. They should drop it at $400, because if you start getting to that point, it's like almost what's $100 when you have two vastly different consoles. Because jumping from the Series S to the Series X, that's a $200 price margin. That's almost at that price. It's like, you know what? I'll take the 1440p. It's 60 frames. It's smaller. It's digital. Who cares? But if Sony could pitch in and reduce that $200 to $100 for a system that's better in every way in terms of hardware, would be a perfect way to, one, convince people to not get the Series S, and that would undercut their most powerful system, which is already confirmed to be at $500.
It's interesting that you still look at it that way, though. That you would still look at it as like, oh no, don't go there, buy ours instead. I look at it as like, hey, let's, like, why not both? You know?
No, that doesn't exist.
Jesus Christ.
Why would they not release a single console then, Diego?
Right, because there's people that don't have enough money. What do you mean? Why wouldn't they? Because people don't have enough money to pay for the higher end console. When you look at the higher end console, that's not to say that they're trying to compete with PlayStation. I think we have it all wrong. People have it all wrong nowadays. People, you know, and it sounds like you kind of have this mindset too, where it's like people still think that there's a war going on, and I think that's done. You know, it's like, you either get what you want for the exclusives, that's fine. Because I mean, I will admit, PlayStation, hence why I have the PlayStation, is because of their exclusive games. But the reason that there's the higher end model is for hardcore gamers that really want that console and really want the performance from that console, as well as the performance PlayStation 5, which I don't know that they'll get like a lower end model in there. I haven't seen any rumors about that. And then with the 1S being the much cheaper model, that's for people like, you know, say when we were kids and we couldn't get the latest and greatest, parents are going to look at that and be like, that's pretty cheap. I'll get that for my kid, because they can't afford the higher end one, which is for more like elite, quote unquote, right? Elite gamers.
All right. Well, here's my rebuttal.
I don't think it's a matter of like, hey, no, like, don't buy this. I think we shouldn't think like that. That's not a good way. That's not a good mindset to have. It's instead it should be, hey, let's try to get, you know, every console in every home so that more people can experience more games.
The manufacturers set the war. There's a reason why we can't crossplay.
Here's my rebuttal. The fact that we have great games, that we have great consoles, is because of competition. Where there is unity, there is no competition. To say that Sony and Microsoft, hey, let's be buddies, let's share the same games, we'll just be separate services, makes absolutely zero sense. You gotta place embargoes on different developers to incentivize people to come over to you. There's always going to be a war, in the sense that if there doesn't exist a war, then there's going to be no competition, and then there's going to be no innovation by Microsoft or by Sony. They're always on that constant, I need to beat Microsoft in order to deliver a better product to the customer, to convince the customer to leave Microsoft because we offer a better service. Without that war mentality, that won't exist. Because then there's going to be no need for Microsoft to be better than Sony. If they don't want to be better than Sony, then that's bad for the customer because they're not going to offer you anything different. I get
Yeah.
it. The whole Unity thing sounds nice and pretty, but at the end of the day, that doesn't do anybody justice. Take Android into comparison.
Intel and AMD is the biggest example for what you're
There's
saying.
been no competition in the Android market for a very long time. And then came Google, and then came OnePlus. Because Samsung's been at the top of the market for a very long time. If you look at their S7s, their S8s, and S9s, and even to now, they're not good in the sense that for the average customer, there's literally no reason to shell out $1,000 when you can get something for $500 that does 90% of that, and that comes from competition. So if everything was like,
you're looking at the competition based on the hardware. I'm talking about what they have to offer you. When I think of the two different companies, I think of it as like, okay, I'm going to get both for totally different reasons, right? And I think that's what's happening here. It's not like before where, yes, it was more about, hey, this one's more powerful than the other, blah, 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 which if you really want to argue that, yeah, you can go and look real deep into the specs of the new consoles this generation. But on paper, to the average consumer, they're really close. Like they're pretty damn close in terms of like power. Like they're
that's
super high end PCs. But
that
hold on. But the thing is with Xbox, they're offering a different type of service with Xbox Game Pass, and that's what they have over PlayStation. Now, what PlayStation has over Xbox is that they offer a hell of a lot more exclusive games because they partner with different companies. Now, there's your competition. I think it's less about the hardware and more about the services and games that they offer.
Oh yeah, the competition due to hardware, if you just look at Moore's law, everything was supposed to double every year. That hasn't been the case. If you look at PC components, with the exception of the new NVIDIA graphics cards, everything has been iterative. Hardware is no longer a reason as to why you should get a product, especially with electronics. Case in point, look at the Pixel phones. Pixel, they have an outstanding service on the, what is it, the 4A, on the Pixel 4A, for a $300 to $400 phone, and people are buying this because the services in the phone, not the hardware, is better than the services in a phone that's priced at $1,000. See, that comes from the traditional mentality that it's the physical things that compete. Where I give credit to Microsoft is that they didn't succumb to the traditional war where it's like, oh, mine's more powerful. This is more powerful. Because, I mean, I prefer, I prefer PlayStation because that's what I've been using since I was a little kid. But the Xbox is in almost every aspect superior to the PS5. But even then, Microsoft said, hey, we need to take the war elsewhere, into services, into games, and which is why they innovated in the Battlefield. We're like, okay, we're not going to compete solely based on hardware, so we're going to compete in the games aspect where they started bringing services. And that's where they catch Sony lacking. And that's because there's competition. There's a war. They always have to think out of the box. Let's see, what's Microsoft not doing? What's Sony not doing? And how can we do it to the benefit of customers? And that's due to the war. The war has no longer been physical. The war for a few years now has been in services, backwards compatibility, uh, what is it, cross-platform.
UIs.
That's not hardware based. That's services and software based. And so to say that the war no longer exists is not true, because one of the reasons that Xbox uses to hey, you should come for Xbox. Why? Because you can still play your 360 games. You can still play your Xbox fat games here.
They had them
So it's
there.
like the war has taken a
And I
new
did do that.
turf,
It
but
was-
that's not to
fucking
say that the war does not exist.
I will give Xbox, even since the first one came out, the UI on the first Xbox was fucking legit. Like I remember, I never owned one, but I know the startup sequence of a original Xbox. Jesus Christ! And the 360 came out. I remember the first time I used the UI on the 360, I was like, "Yo, this thing is so smooth." Versus the PS3 UI, oh my god, it was like I was fucking booting into a fucking Linux server. Like this shit was just, I just didn't like it. It wasn't appealing. But the 360 UI and just Xbox's UIs in general, they're always have been more user friendly. And you could definitely tell that the people who developed, Windows had some say in it because the fucking UIs, they were down, dude.
There are
I
some.
actually really like the XMB profile for PlayStation 3. I think I prefer it over PS4s. Although PS4s looks pretty, the
Yes.
functionality of the XMB I think is superior to what exists right now because like it was just so open. People hacked it, dude. That's why the fucking servers went down because people started
Yeah.
hacking these things.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting topic that I wanted to talk about. We're getting to the point where the hardware on these new next gen consoles are getting to the point where they're almost compared to a mid range gamer PC. Like whoever, like either the developers or the manufacturers, they have to. I want them to like give us the ability to run Windows like or Linux on them because at this point they are gaming PCs. They have
But see, that's the
they have
thing. Right?
SSDs.
That's the thing, though, is that as soon as you get into that conversation, then there's no point in these two companies, Microsoft and Sony, in making consoles anymore because they may as well. They may no, honestly, this is that right there.
I know what you're talking about, Diego. I see where you're going with this.
Is exactly
Because the value exists.
I'm not really going anywhere with it.
Of a console.
I'm just saying exactly. I'm just saying that like the minute you start saying like, oh, just let us put Windows, let us do this, it's like, well, then just go make a PC. It's like the reason that we still have consoles is because there are companies that are like, hey, they're able to say, hey, I have this exclusive console, make a game specifically for just this console, and then that way they can sell that console with that game, and if it's a good game, it's going to sell a lot, as opposed to, well, let's just tell people to go buy PCs and everybody has this game and whatever. It's just, I feel like at that point when you start getting into let us be switch out parts and shit, they may as well not make the consoles anymore.
Okay, well, that's a good point, but at least have the Switch available because I think on the PS3 I did see someone run Linux on it, but the way they did it was really shady. But I think on the Xbox it was a bit more easier to run Windows 7 on it. I saw someone do it.
I don't know about adding whole different OSs because at that point it's no longer a PS3.
Exactly.
So what I was rooting for was that the old XMB from the PS3 was so open source that you could put your own music on it. You could put your own games, your own.
I love that so much.
Your own videos on it.
Server,
and now
remember?
I want to fucking listen or watch a fucking video that I own, and you can't do it on the PS4 because they have closed the system so much. It's almost like a fucking iPhone. You can't do shit with it.
Yeah, I remember on the PS3, it had the ability to search your network and see if you had any media servers. And back in the day, I felt like, who the hell would have this? But now, you yourself have a media server. You have an actual cloud storage hooked up to your network, right?
Yeah,
So you have your photos, you have your music, you have like possibly movies on it. That's like a real thing now. That's actually something that to me sounds really awesome. But like you said, the PS4 didn't have that ability. I feel like it did though.
It does, but it's not very seamless because I've tried it. You have to install a client on your phone to connect to it.
Wow.
So
Never mind.
yeah, so whenever you got to stream to your PS4, you need to use your phone to do it. So you don't access your server through the PS4. You give permission to the PS4 through your phone or your computer.
Oh, and it just streams it off. Okay.
Yeah, essentially. Which is what I don't
Wow.
like. That's what I liked about the old XMB, that it was just more flexible and gave the customer more control, which is, we're going to the back. When you make things that are more convenient or to the benefit of the customer, that's what we should do. When it's to the benefit of corporations, fuck that.
Yeah.
It's when you say XMB, is that the UI, the PS3 UI?
Yeah, it's called the cross media bar. That's what it is when you go.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is?
Mhm.
All right, gotcha.
Same question.
After this discussion, so what are you guys getting? So the consoles are coming out, the holidays 2020.
British are coming.
I'm going full PS5. I'm just gonna stick. I am gonna say the Xbox. I have been impressed with the prices that they've been coming out. The designs, they're pretty small. The actual thermal design of the Xbox, which is what they're calling it, right? They're just
It
calling
looks
it
like a
straight up
fucking
Xbox.
speaker.
Yeah, right, Diego. That's what they're calling it now. Just the Xbox. There's nothing.
No, so the cheaper version, the white one, is the Xbox Series S, and then the main high spec one is the Xbox Series X.
X for extreme.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I am impressed with the thermal design and the actual price. So, but the PS5, I'm sticking with my fucking Wi-Fi looking ass thing.
Hell yeah.
I think, I mean, to talk about like how they actually look, like when they're actually sitting on like a stand or anything, like you said, it looks like a speaker. I don't mind that at all. I actually like that, they're easier to blend in. Because if you look at like a PS2 or like a 64, for example, and of course this is just going like way back, they're kind of eyesores. I'm not gonna lie,
But you remember them.
but I remember them and they bring
that's the
good
point.
memories, so that's why I don't mind looking at them. But let's say you just walk into a house and say, and you didn't know what a 64 was. You look at that thing, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
I want that. Look
Oh,
at that.
man.
It's fucking cool. And then you look at this little black box, which is like, you can't really it doesn't have a personality. It's bland.
I can't wait for D-Brand to come out with all these skins, man.
Dude, exactly.
Oh, dude, I
It's
saw
gonna be
a
fun.
black and red one. That looks fucking mean.
It's gonna
But-
be fun what people do.
To answer the question in terms of what am I getting, I'm going to do my absolute best to get both PS5 and Xbox Series S.
Jesus, man.
you and me, Pedro, Halo, baby, let's go.
That's a
Actually,
lot of
and
cash.
it is a lot of cash, but the only reason I'm doing this is just because I want to support the developers. I think there's tons of games on both ends that seem interesting. At the end of the day, of course, I'm going to use PS5 for all the big boy games, the AAA titles. But when it comes to, if I want to play Halo, if I want to play some other indie games that aren't available on PS5 and for whatever reason aren't available on Steam on my PC, then the Xbox is something to look at.
You see, I played as a kid. I played Crash Bandicoot on the PS1 when there was no fucking analog sticks, and then I played the shit out of fucking SmackDown versus Raw on PS2. Played the hell out of Call of Duty on the PS3, and now I own a PS4. I have grown up with PlayStation and Sony. And when it's not even the PlayStation, it's the headphones, it's media players, everything. It's almost like it's been I've just been surrounded by Sony products. So it's almost like, how they refer to the Apple ecosystem. I'm in the Sony ecosystem. So I am going PS5. That's not to say I won't get an Xbox, but that won't come until after. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why, but I'm not a very like, oh my god, I like this one game, I'm gonna buy a console. One game doesn't sell me. I feel like it's the whole services that's tailored to it. Obviously, the friends that I have on it, and that's a whole. That's obviously part of it too. But now a new factor is that I'm so deep into this, it just doesn't make any sense to go and buy an Xbox.
And that's where I disagree. And I think that's such a weird mindset to have now. Where
I'm a broke boy. The fuck?
No, hold on. Like, let me finish, dog. My point is that why, just because you've had it your whole life, why not, think to yourself like, oh yeah, I'd like to get that too. Why confine yourself to this company just because you've been with them for so long? Like it's
because
almost
I've
like
enjoyed
you're
what I've been having. It's not like I've never had an
let
issue
me
with it.
finish. Let me finish, dog. Relax. I'm with you. I'm with you. But my thing,
Oh, I'm just responding, homie.
I know, but you interrupt a lot. My thing is, why
Fucking fight.
why not like just think to your for yourself and do yourself a favor and be like, yeah, you know what, I'll get an Xbox, maybe not the One S, right, but like maybe you find like a, or sorry, not the Series S, but you find a One S, like one from last gen, and you're like, fuck yeah, I'll buy that for like 150 $100 on OfferUp, and you play through those, and then that way you can experience new games, which is why I, to answer the question, I'm going to get both, especially when the One S launched at that lower price. I thought that's perfect because I still get my Xbox exclusives. I still get the Game Pass, as well as um, going with the PlayStation 5. You get all of those exclusive games that come on that console as well.
You
I
see,
can't wait till I see PS4, PS5s on OfferUp so I could take that fucking Gen 4 PCIe SSD out and use it in my fucking PC.
yeah, Diego. I don't like that you almost kind of painted that I don't research what I buy or
I
go
did.
into. It's almost
I
like,
did. No, I did.
yeah, you said it, and you almost painted it out like, oh, he's a sheep. He buys an iPhone every day or every year because it's an iPhone.
Every
Essentially,
day.
he buys a X product simply because of the company. And no, that's not true. I've admitted that Xbox, I applaud them with backwards compatibility. I want to play the old PlayStation games that I used to play on the PS3, but I don't have access to on the PS4. But that goes into the point where I tried to say that the comfort that I'm in eventually will pay off like it did with Xbox. They have publicly announced that the PS4 games and some PS3 games will work on the PS5. So it's getting to the point where had I ever owned an Xbox game, obviously I would start to weigh in the two different sides. I'm like, okay, for the future, Xbox seems like the better solution because they have promised to the customers that they will consistently deliver backwards compatibility, which is a huge plus. And I want backwards compatibility, and I've been wanting it since the PS4, which is why I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, I actually bought an Xbox One S, and it didn't go through because it ran out of stock. But I bought it because I wanted to play those games. But then you get to start thinking, I don't play um, PlayStation because of Spider-Man or because The Last of Us. I don't really go for the exclusives. It's just that's what I play games on. Almost every game that I play is a big box AAA game that serves its purpose and works just fine on the Xbox. But because I already have it on the PS4, it doesn't make sense to re-buy a new copy, re-buy a new subscription that's $60 every year, re-buy a new console, earn my trophies again on another system. That doesn't make any sense to have to divide my labor into two different places. Which is why I'm going to the point. I've had it for so long. You see my gamer score, and I'm like, yo, I'm ranked 12 in my trophy system. It's like it doesn't to me. It just doesn't make any sense to start from scratch in a whole different place that does the same thing where I am now.
I agree with you 100%,
I,
Joel.
I see your points in that. Sorry, Pedro. I see your points in that rebuttal, but I'm not saying. And again, I do apologize. I didn't want it to seem like, oh no, fuck you, you're a fanboy. I'm just saying the way I was looking at it is, well, I'm not saying like restart, all of your progress on like the Xbox, right? Because to me, like, I mean, just speaking from experience, I've never really cared for the gamer score on Xbox nor the trophies on PlayStation. They're nice things to have, and they both do them differently, and they both do them very well. But I'm looking at it from just a different experience perspective, like to say that, like, because like me, having had both and having played both, not because I've had the luxury, I don't say that as if like, oh yeah, I got them brand new. No, I got them all like janky and used and fucked up, but I was still able to have those experience. It's just nice to know that, like, oh, there are those options. Why not try, at least for me, which is my argument, is why not try to get both experiences for specific games? And I don't know if that stems from just me being like loving the fact that there are more exclusive games on one than the other, and that, you know, as an example, like you mentioned, The Last of Us and Spider-Man and stuff, and PlayStation has a bunch of exclusive games that because of them I wanted that console and I got it. But then on Xbox, there's Halo, there's Gears of War, there's a bunch of other games that I've played since childhood that I still want to play on that console. Which is my point. Is like there's just, I guess, as a gamer, like with that perspective, and I know you have this, you know, I think all of us have it. I think we should strive for different console, you know, we should aim for that.
Right. And what I was trying to say earlier was basically I 100% agree with Joel in the sense of, you know, credit where credit's due. There are points to both consoles that you do want to experience and, you know, you give them credit for. But the reason I want to get both is exactly for what Diego said. There's exclusives on both titles that I'm interested in. And the way that I see it, by all means, when I said that I was getting both, I'm not pre-ordering both at the same day. I'm not going to get them, you know, when they hit the shelves. I'm going to get the PS5 first, because obviously that's the side that I'm on with this current gen. But it's not to say that I'm not going to hustle a guy on OfferUp to get it for the way low, and then say I don't like it. Cool beans. I give it off to the next person, and, you know, hopefully not spend any money on it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I agree with where Diego stated that, you know, it's good to experience what's out there, and I definitely agree with that. I myself happen to be a very impulsive buyer. I will, if I see something that I like, I will buy it. But for some reason, with games, and especially with console, because it's just been such a big part of me growing up, I feel like if I'm not completely swept by a service, and I will give you an example. I wasn't completely swept when I had recently bought a Nintendo Switch. It almost felt very gimmicky for me. It's like, it almost like, hey, I bought it to play with you guys. And then you guys bought the PS5, so that functionality of
PS5,
hey,
yeah.
PS4.
I'm PS4.
Damn, dude, the PS5's lit.
Yeah, the functionality that I had bought the Switch for, which was initially to play games with you guys, almost completely disintegrated once you guys got the same console that is like my home turf, the one that I'm comfortable with. So it was, I'm like, there's just no reason for me to keep the Switch, because I'm not very big on Nintendo games. I can't say that I definitely grew up with Mario. I'm very familiar with Mario, but I wasn't a kid who was so into everything Mario. So when I got the Nintendo Switch, and I never felt that swept feeling that I wanted to feel, that's why I sold it. I was like, yeah, this isn't a good investment. I'm not using it. And it didn't serve the initial purpose that I bought it for. And I feel like if I bought another console and I didn't invest the time for it, then I myself, as a customer and as an investor of my time, I can't justify buying a new console.
So this has nothing to do with. Well, it does have something to do with what you said. I mean, earlier we mentioned that we loved Pokemon. You say you love Pokemon Platinum. I like Pokemon Soul Silver.
I love Pokemon.
Exactly. When the Switch came out, I'll agree, there was no Pokemon games up until last year when Let's Go Pikachu came out. So for me, I had to resort back to Mario, and I've found games on the Switch that I still play right now. I play Mario Odyssey almost on the daily, just because it's my favorite Mario game, period. But where I felt like you may have, I understand that you said that it wasn't a great investment. I agree, because you did buy it just to play Mario Kart with us, and I appreciated that. But I felt like had you maybe given Pokemon Sword and Shield a try, maybe you given Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu a try, or possibly a Zelda Breath of the Wild a try, you may have actually liked to have the Switch, and, you know, maybe those games
Perhaps.
swept you in that sense. And that's the goal that I want to have. I want to be swept again, hopefully, because Diego hypes up Halo so much. I want to give it a shot, so I will get the Xbox just to give it that shot.
Pedro, just to re-add to that, I agree. Had I played Pokemon, I probably would have invested more time into it. But me personally, knowing the nature,
It's funny because
what was that?
what's
Yeah.
that?
So what I was gonna say is, knowing the nature of Pokemon, there's a point where it almost wraps up. You play the game and then you're kind of done with it. So I'm in that sense of the games that I like, that there's always like a never ending thrill to it, or a quest. Like, for example, Call of Duty. You could continue playing Call of Duty. Yes, it's the same thing, but there's kind of no end to it. And there is that for Call of Duty, or sorry, for Pokemon. So I think that's why I didn't want to play it, because I knew the outcome already.
Right, and I agree. The only reason I still find hope in Pokemon is just because I love battling so much. So I'm constantly trying to get a perfect team.
Yeah, you do beat my ass a few times today.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll agree with you in that sense. I understand that, maybe Pokemon would have capped at one point. But again, I'm just saying I agree with both of you. You guys both have reasons in terms of this upcoming console war.
Games are badass.
Games are great. And see, this is what I love, is that whether it's heated discussion or whatever, at the beginning, like looking back at our childhoods and stuff, like at the end of the day, games are fucking great. And
Yeah,
I'm excited for this new generation, and I'm especially excited to share it with y'all.
Absolutely. Games do nothing but good for the world.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun 2021 after hopefully really shitty 2020. So let's just hope it ends here, and then we can continue with the next chapter, which is gaming in 2021.
Watch us.
COVID 2020. I'm kidding.
Part 2. Okay.
Part 2, baby.
Fucking bitch about how we were just bitching about download times. Watch the next gen give us like 4 days of trying to download Cold War.
I shit you not. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. There will be games 500 gigabytes plus, and I really hope that I'm wrong about this, but at the end of the life cycle of the PS5 X, whatever the next gen Xbox, that there probably will be a series of game or something on the stores to download that is a 1 terabyte.
We're gonna get to petabytes. I want it so bad.
I wanted to share with you guys that the size in games actually might go down, and that's due to the nature of
compression,
SSDs.
baby,
optimization.
And well, yes, but more in the sense that, so hard drives have to spin. There is a delay. For example, if you are on the opposite end, or the read head is on the opposite end of a platter, and the information is right there, and you need it now. Like, let's say you're playing GTA and you're fucking driving fast as hell, and you need to generate a stop sign, for example. And let's say the stop sign's on the opposite end of the platter. That's not good, because you need to generate it now, instantaneously. So what happens is that game developers actually add multiple copies of stop signs. So stop signs could actually exist 12 times inside the disk, thus inflating the amount of size needed. But with SSDs, you only need 1 copy, because it's read and write. And if the game says, "Yo, SSD, I need a stop sign. Give me a stop sign," it's gonna give it a stop sign. But unlike a hard drive, it has to physically spin, so it's gonna actually reduce the size of games.
I hope so, because goddamn,
yeah,
that would be
ideal. Just a little math and engineering there.
It should be math. It should be math. It should be fucking amazing, because for the first time, this consoles are gonna ship out with like the best storage device that we currently have. PC, well, at least for the PS5, but I believe that the Xbox also has an SSD that matches PCIe Gen 4. which
Yes.
it's it's insane. PCs don't even have this yet. Well, there is some drives already out, but they're stupid expensive, and it's just not worth it just doing that upgrade for that speed. But yeah, I think that's it for the night, right? I mean, I went through a couple of beers. I was actually kind of stoned out. It's not stoned out, kind of buzzed out.
Dang, Stone too. Nice.
Bugging out. Goddamn.
Yeah, what was I
He's
doing?
about to shoot up too if we keep going.
Dude,
Shit's
Yeah,
fucking wearing off, isn't it, Caesar?
Need another hit.
Fucking junkie.
Anyways, Jesus Christ, you guys are just making me sound like a fucking junkie. I do not do drugs, ladies and gentlemen. Okay,
give me a
Alright,
spoon
I'm-
later.
Drugs
Yeah.
are cool.
I'm the one doing drugs right now. What the fuck? All right.
Caesar the junkie. All right, it's a thing now.
Jesus Christ, man. All right, it's been a fun night. Anything you guys want to say to the audience before we head out?
If you have any needs for heroin and cocaine, please.
Jesus
contact
Christ, I
Caesar.
fucking knew it. I
Let's
fucking knew
go.
it.
Bye, everybody.
All right, follow us on Instagram at Chela Podcast. I
No,
almost forgot.
you
Podcast.
already fucked it up at Chela Time Podcast.
Come on, Caesar.
Yeah, I think he already shot up.
He's dead. He's fucking
Look at
dead.
that spoon right now.
Oh,
He's
I just
burning the
unmuted
spoon.
myself. I muted myself. Oh my god. No. I thought I said it right. I got the Instagram tag right. I just didn't say at, okay? I said follow us on Instagram, Channel Time Podcast. That's our tag. So I got it right. You fucks.
All
All
right.
right.
All right.
Thanks for joining everyone.
Bye.